Hello, Motivo community. We are here live with Alan Ballard, author of Keep On Moving. Alan grew up in Philadelphia in the 1930s. He went on to become a Fulbright scholar, worked at Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers Europe in France during the war, followed by earning his PhD from Harvard. He's an award-winning author, musician, and sailor. And Alan, I got to tell you, it's a real honor and privilege to be speaking with you today about your latest book, Keep On Moving. So welcome, Alan.
Okay, well, hello out there. It's greetings from Albany, New York, which is where I am now. And I'm glad to be here. And thank you, sir, for having me on the program. And yeah.
It's a real privilege, Alan. It really is. So we just want to talk a little bit about your latest book here, and maybe we can start with just kind of give us an overview about what in general is your latest book, Keep On Moving, about.
Okay, so first I'll just show you kind of, if I can, this comes through clearly, maybe. This is the book called Keep On Moving. And the reason I wrote the book is because I had to stop driving. And I had to stop driving because my stenosis, my legs, and my back just made it impossible to drive anymore. Mm-hmm. And, that's a terrible kind of thing to happen to you.
It is, yeah.
At least I'm 87 years old. Hey, it was time because I didn't want to hurt anybody. And then, here I'm left in a situation where I can't get around. And I had to figure out, is there a way to get up to the drugstore? Is there a way to get up to the library, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And so I began, I'm an explorer by nature, whatever. And I started looking, for this and for that, to keep moving and to keep myself outdoors and to be able to see nature and just, to be somebody. And then that's how the book got started, because I was on the internet all the time, looking here, looking there, will this work? Will that work or not? And then I had already started using my rollators. Now, because, again, I had to get around the campus where I was still teaching.
Right.
And all this kind of began melding into my mind. How can you move? And how can you keep your body going? Now, it's an amazing thing that when you start seeing, it's the little things that count up. The way in which you move and you keep active keeps your life alive. I mean, it makes you, you're somebody. If you're sitting around, if you have to sit all day long and you begin feeling sorry for yourself, you say to yourself, hey, what's the way out of this? Well, one way was the rollator, which I'll get back to in a minute. Mm-hmm. But then there were all these other things, bicycles with electric motors, stepped tricycles, what they call recumbent bikes. Mm-hmm. All these things where you could, that cushion your body, put you on wheels, and get you outside. And it's like, when you're a kid, you have your bicycle whole kind of mode, and then when you're in your middle ages, you get your bikes, you want to go out on the road, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Then finally you say to yourself, hey, I can't move anymore. Right. I can't do that anymore. And what the book became was a transition away. When you're over the 60s and your 70s, whatever, you move, you still have a way out.
That's right.
And the way out is through recumbent bikes. It's through the rollators. It's through electric bikes, electric trikes. You can begin thinking about what they call step-through bicycles, in other words, the threshold for your leg to get over is there. And the next thing you know, you're back into the flow again. and you're back into a routine again. So that's what's the book is really about. It's to keep yourself active, and if you keep yourself active, the Alzheimer's is delayed, you know, the obesity is delayed, the diabetes, all those things just kind of fade away, and you're so much better in your head.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Alan. I mean, a lot of people have experienced the same issues with mobility as you have. Was there a singular experience, though, that really inspired you to want to write a book about it?
Yeah, it came to me. No, I'm not going to make any comparisons.
Yeah.
But Einstein said the theory of relativity came to him when he was on a bicycle.
Yeah, right.
And in the same way, I was on the trike, and I was just, I'm a writer, and if you're a writer and you're not writing, you don't feel very happy.
Right.
And as I was writing, I just said, I just said, why not write a book about this? And one of my buddies, we were having coffee one day. He said, listen, all this, he was traveling with me because my friend went with me to see various kinds of rollators. He went with me to see various kinds of electric bikes. He went with me all the way along. He said, listen, man, this is like a little kind of odyssey. That's right. Why don't you write a book about it?
Yeah.
And I did because, frankly, there's not another book like it. I don't want to brag about it, but there's not another book.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I haven't seen any others out there like that, and I think that's what I think people are going to find so interesting about Keep On Moving is that there really hasn't been a recent review of all these options that are out there.
Right.
You talked about how mobility devices certainly have helped you keep on moving. Can you tell us a little bit about, what should someone look for and how does someone go about finding the right mobility for themselves, the right mobility device for themselves? What are some of those key features that you write about in your book that people should be considering?
Well, let's say this. There's so many. Your first thing, you're thinking about your balance.
Yep.
You're thinking about your balance. You're thinking about your weight.
Yep.
And you're thinking about your doctor, first of all, I think. You want to go to the doctor and say, he's going to say to you, hey, move, move, move. Then you can look. There are Recumbent Trikes, which are marvelous devices. So you can lay flat in them and move with your legs, and they cushion you. It feels like you're in a lounge chair, right? There are trikes, what they call adult trikes. And adult trikes have a low step through on them, and you can get on that thing, and even though it may be seem at first a little kind of unstable, there are training things that you can do with those adult trikes that can get you into the rhythm with that, and then you can get on that and run around just like you're a kid again. Every day.
How would somebody decide between whether a trike or a rollator or a walker? What are
Sometimes you can have them all together, right? Sometimes you can have them all together. That's a good question. For me, basically, I use a rollator and an adult trike. I use the adult trike because I ultimately ended up with that because the recumbent trike just seemed at first for me a little bit more difficult to get up from. And for me, although people change and they have different stages of mobility, for me, just being able to get on that adult trike was simple and easy. Yeah. For other folks who have a different kind of mobility, I would love to I think, and I may even end up having what they call a recumbent trike. Because it too is a lot of fun and easy if you get one that has a higher kind of mounting level on it, easier to use that too. The rollators, the rollator to me, I do in the morning. I'll use the rollator, and then a little later on, I'll get on the adult trike too. Mm-hmm. Because there are different kind of muscles that are used.
Sure, because you're sitting versus walking.
That's right.
Difference.
But the amazing thing, really, since you brought that, the amazing thing is that the adult, you may feel that with your cane, for example, hey, I can barely move. But then you get on your trike, and guess what? All of a sudden, man, boom, 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 because the same things that immobilize you so much, they don't function, and your legs are just pounding like that. You say, hey, I'm like a kid again.
Right.
Same thing with the rollator.
Right.
It's amazing how many people, they go around, as I do too, with the cane. And with my cane, I can barely get from one end of the room to the other. But I do it, and boom, boom, boom. Get on the rollator, and boom, you can stride. It's like it's a magical kind of transition. Yeah.
No, and we've heard that from a lot of our customers as well, who have used a cane or used an old style walker, and when they sort of discover a rollator or discover the Motivo tour, that they're able to do a lot of the things that they thought they weren't ever going to be able to do again. And it's those small elements of independence that can really help get people up moving again and keep them healthier longer. And I think you talk about that very well in your book. I remember you wrote about your students trying to keep up with you when you're using your rollator and chasing you down and even asking you to slow down because your students couldn't keep up with you.
That's true.
And we were really honored that you wrote about the Motivo tour in your book. And I'm curious, what was it about the tour that you felt compelled to include it in your book?
Yeah, well, the tour. When I came to the end of the section on rollators, mm-hmm. I had just about finished, and then I was doing a re-browsing through, and that's when I stumbled on the tour, mm-hmm. and then I was kind of boom. When I looked at the tour, I said, "This is something different," and that's why I began researching it and looking at it, on the internet. And what was unique about the tour was that, to me, and why I included it, was because it was kind of a quantum leap in terms of the way in which people approach rollators. Because one of the things, I have a neighbor down here actually, who has a wife, et cetera, but other folks who they see me walking, and they say, oh, but they don't want to be on a rollator. They don't want to be labeled as being, hey, I'm disabled or something. No. However, when you have something that attracts them, as I have one rollator, for example, it has a nice little bag on it.
Yeah.
People begin saying, "Oh, what is that? What is that?" They change and they transition their minds, and I think that what the Motivo does primarily is it changes the whole perception of what a rollator is. It's like somebody's going to say, "What kind of toy you got there, old fella?" Whatever, right?
Right.
And so I thought that was the dominating thing, the way in which they seem to work from the need mm-hmm. to developing something that's going to do that, and it will enable a lot more people, I think, to be comfortable with their rollators, because now they're going to say, where did you get that? Man, that's a good looking something, right? Right. And the ability to put on there your thing. So I like that about it. I like the way it was designed so people could walk inside it. And I also like the thoughtfulness of it. I mean, the way that when you have a rollator, you have people don't know it. There's a whole, it's almost like a science of rollators, but that you don't get and understand until basically you have to use them day after day.
Right.
And that means how do you get the thing into the car?
Yep.
How do you move around and to get into the bathroom in the house?
Yep.
How do you, all those things, how can you use it for eating? I grab mine sometimes, just pull it behind me, like a crutch almost. There's so many things, aspects of it that are important. And I think that when they designed the motorboat, they did a lot of thinking about those things. So that's basically what I did.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate that. And again, I mean, coming from somebody who has spent a career in academia, with a PhD from Harvard, you certainly know how to do your research. And again, we're quite honored that you picked the Motivo tour to at least write about in your book and talk about how we're able to enable people to walk more upright and do so with some pride and dignity in a design that doesn't label them so much like a medical patient. And that was really our intent and my original intent from when my father had to use these products and wanted something better for him as well. And again, I'm honored to be able to speak with you today and hear your thoughts and comments that you've got so well documented in your new book, Keep On Moving, and which is available now on Amazon. And I would encourage everybody who's thinking at all about mobility products, either for themselves or for a loved one, to get on Amazon and check out Alan's book, Keep On Moving. And again, I can't thank you enough for the time. This was really enjoyable.
Okay, I enjoyed it too. Thanks so much. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.